Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 644. My opponent played e4 and I went with d5, the Scandinavian or center counter defense, and by far the main move here is just to take that pawn, try and lure black's queen out and gain some tempos against it. I usually try and take back with the knight when I'm playing the main line Scandinavian, but my opponent plays a very rare move, e5. I guess if you want to avoid the Scandinavian for some reason, you could also try knight to c3. But, well, there's nothing wrong for white to play the Scandinavian. It's a good opening for white. so it's a bit funny that he should avoid it here by playing e5. And he gets in a little bit of trouble very quickly. c5 turns out to be a good move here. And it actually prevents d4. After he plays d4, he's in big trouble, so he needs to find some other line here. And the way to punish d4 is to take immediately and just leave this weak e-pawn, which I think you can win in most lines. So basically, white starts off down a pawn here. And something similar happens in the game, so we'll just go back to the game. I played c5, he played d4, and I just played e6 instead of taking right away. And he went bishop e3, and this kind of forces my hand. Now, if I were to play c5, this position is fine for white. Really, the way to play this for black is to take the d-pawn, and then I was really expecting him to take with the bishop. He takes with the queen, which is just a target, and then go after the e-pawn, which I start out on the right foot. I play knight c6. He goes queen a4, pinning the knight, preventing me from taking that pawn. I unpin, and then he brings his bishop out. But this is no longer a pin, and I could just take that pawn. I was kind of sleepwalking through the opening, I think, which sometimes happens to me. I play the normal moves, and I don't look for the tactics, a way to exploit my opponent's unusual play here. But he's basically just sacked this pawn, and I should take it. Okay, let's see. I played a6 here, kicking his bishop. He went bishop takes. I took back, and then he went queen f4, running over here to defend the pawn, although that's not currently under attack, but maybe he has ideas of kingside attack, and I thought for a while and played knight e7. But right here, there's a nice tactic. This is what I referred to in the description of the video, so see if you can spot the tactic in this position. Okay, pause the video if you want some time to think about it. I'm going to give the answer away now. The move here is d4. It's a double attack. It's attacking the bishop. Now, of course, that pawn can just be taken, but the second part of the attack is bishop takes g2, and the rook in the corner is lost. So this wins material. If he saves the rook by playing f3, he loses the bishop. So that would be a quick finish to the game. Anyway. Like I said, sleepwalking. I played knight e7. He went knight f3, so now he's got this pawn defended, and he's also blocked the diagonal, so this tactic is no longer there. It was just there for that one move. Knight g6, hitting the queen, piling up on the e-pawn. Queen went to g3, and I just complete my development here, both sides castle. And he plays h3. Yeah, I'm not sure h3 is really appropriate in this position. I don't have a piece that's capable of going to g4, so I'm not sure what that does. Gives his queen a retreat square, or you know what it does? It opens up the square for some kind of knight maneuver like that, perhaps. Okay. Anyway, I played f6, undermining the center, typical French defense strategy. That's what happened actually when he pushed by instead of taking. We sort of transposed from something like the Scandinavian to something more like the French defense advanced variation. And let's see, he plays bishop to d4, defending the pawn, but this is a good trade for me because I end up with these center pawns, and they should be worthwhile. Oh, let's take that back. He took with the knight, which is okay, and I keep taking. He does have this blockade on my pawns, so it's not all that bad, but you know, I'm still better. It would have been better for me to win the pawn, of course, but I still have the advantage out of the opening. I managed to keep it all the way Let's see. I went bishop f6, challenging his bishop. He was actually threatening mate there, so I did notice that. You have to do something about that. And he played rook e1, bringing his rook out, defending the bishop. And I went d4. I had this idea of queen to d5 and creating this battery, but and also I was trying to exploit the fact that he hadn't developed his knight. So it's a bit. I mean, it is kind of logical to think that you should open things up and try and create lines for your pieces while his pieces are still in the back rank. But it just turns out in this case there's no attack here, and d4 just doesn't amount to anything. It just turns out to be a weakening of my position. And after d4, the position is really just even. So, but it's not so easy. White has actually got his pieces well positioned for both attack and defense, right? He's got these threats against my g7, and at the same time he's defended his g2 and blockaded my pawns. So anyway, the chess engine line goes something like this. Rook f7, I guess with the idea of eventually doubling on the f file. Rook e2, protecting the f-pawn. Bishop h4, a couple bishop moves to try and kick the pieces around a little bit. Bishop to b5, kicking the rook. And then queen to g5, going for this exchange. Mainly, I think the idea is to get the queen off the back rank with tempo. And then after the trade, you hit the rook. The bishop hits the rook drops back, and you get to double on the f-file. So, there's still a little bit of pressure for black, and in the long run, black has the advantage of the bishop pair. So, the chess engine gives this slightly better for black. Anyway, I went with d4. Like I said, I was trying to set up some batteries here and get some attack going while his pieces are still in the back rank, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. He gets the knight out, of course. It's a good move. I bring my queen up, and he plays rook to e4. Not the best move here. The chess engine is very blasé. It says everything is fine over on the king side. He can even play the move knight to b3. It's the top choice of the chess engine, and start to put pressure on this pawn. And white is doing okay. I probably have to trade the bishop now to hold on to my pawn, and then he'll get his rook out. And yeah, there's just nothing here for black. Anyway, he played rook e4. In fact, white starts to be better in that line. Rook e4 keeps things about even. I pushed on with d3, which is he can just take that pawn. It's a pawn sacrifice, and not a justified one. There's no good follow-up here. Once again, it's like I'm trying to open things up, but it's just not working. Anyway, he didn't take for whatever reason. He played c3. It's not necessarily a bad move either. This pawn can come under fire, and he can probably round it up. And with correct play, I'll probably end up a pawn down. Anyway, I went queen b5, just kind of poking around, looking at this pawn, defending it, maybe preparing to bring my rook over to get behind it, and also looking at the b pawn. So a couple different ideas, but here he just blunders. He goes for rook to g4, trying to pile up. He gets 3 pieces against g7, which would be good, except that one of those pieces is just hanging, so I can take it. And the game doesn't last too much longer. I'm not sure about king f1. Maybe he's trying to keep my queen from entering, but now this pawn turns out to be useful. It supports the queen coming down, and I get another piece. So nothing. There's no hope for white here after losing that piece. We just go through the rest of this. He blunts this diagonal. And I come in with another check. He goes all the way to h1, and I push my d pawn forward, which keeps him from bringing a rook over to harass my queen. He plays rook to d1. I step my queen forward to chase his rook away and queen that pawn, and so he resigned at this point. He's down a couple pieces and about to lose a rook, and may even get mated since I have this bishop. I have a dark squared bishop to put on this diagonal. So once I have a heavy piece on the back rank, should be a short game from that point. So anyway, he resigned. So there were some interesting moments in this game. Kind of a silly blunder there, but well, that's how they go. Anyway, I will see you guys soon. Bye.